speakers connected the dots today. We have run into abandoned cats in some of our code enforcement activity. So I'm wondering if, just from a standpoint of trying to talk about it as a community issue, would it make sense to make a couple of referrals tonight just to get the dialogue rolling in terms of getting the people involved that need to be involved?
Motion.
Well, I think that I'd like to get some feedback from my colleagues, but there's a couple of different ways to go. There's been a mention of the mandatory neuter ordinance, which could be a referral to the ordinance committee. It's been brought to my attention that the Bristol shelter only takes abused or injured cats. So, I think from a community standpoint, if our shelter is not servicing a cat population, feral or otherwise, we may want to make a referral to the police department just to have them look at services provided. I would also suggest that I actually have a Managing Community Cats, which is a guide for municipal leaders that was put out by the Humane Society of the United States, which has some very great model types of solutions that I can make copies of for everyone. But I'm kind of torn between whether it should go to ordinance or, frankly, whether it should start at code enforcement, because at the code enforcement table, we have fire, police, health, sanitation, and some of these do become public health issues. How to humanely reduce the cat population could be a bunch of different ways. I'm open to suggestions, but with so many people here, it just might be good if you gave us some direction as to what you think.
Well, Councilwoman, you're the chairwoman of the code enforcement, so I guess I'll ask you, do you want it there? Do you want to address it there? I mean, you're the chairwoman, so you tell me if you think it should go there.
I think that it could start there based on the people that you've put at the table to discuss these issues.
Make a motion to send it there.
But it might have to go to other places
okay,
as well.
So start there and then we'll work it from there.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that the issue of community cats, I will call them, because I do believe it's not just at Bonnie Acres, and my comments are exclusive to Bristol Housing Authority property. Community cats, feral or otherwise, the issue be referred for initial discussion to the city's code enforcement committee, which is comprised of a variety of city officials who can look at the issue, have the resources available to make some recommendations that would come back to you, Mayor, and to the council, and potentially to other city departments.
I'll second. Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Yeah, once you get that through, then we can bring that to ordinance, and if we have any further actions to take.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Anything else, Councilwoman?
No.
Okay. Sure.
Would it be allowed for some of the more knowledgeable rescues to put out shelters for these animals, considering the high today was 19?
Where?
At Bonnie Acres.
Yeah, again, you have to talk to Bristol Housing Authority. I'm sorry, we don't have the authority to say that. So you're going to have to speak with them. And tomorrow morning, give them a call and ask them, and I'm sure they'll address the issue. Okay, thank you. Last one.
Okay, across the street from me, their backyard touches Bonnie Acres. I have permission to set up there.
Okay, if it's private property and you don't need it, go ahead.
In my backyard as well.
Go.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, I'm actually wearing two hats tonight. One is an architect for Park Lane, the other is a resident for 37 years of Bristol. And I also find it a little incredulous that we are considering the demolition of a perfectly good, repurposable building for another use. Quickly, and I know I don't have much time, there was a letter that was read into the Real Estate Committee meeting from Reverend Raymond over at St. Stanislaus, indicating that he was in favor of saving the school, thought it would be many of the seniors, which make up a growing percentage of our city's population, will no doubt enjoy living in either a renovated and restored Bingham.
Just hang on one second. Let him
Actually, can I also have you identify yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. For the record, Charles Nyberg, Associated Architects, office at 37 Northwest Drive in Plainville, and I'm a resident at 77 Maple Street.
It flared out a little bit, didn't always hear you.
Okay, sorry. The school was built in 1919. Bristol Press articles reflect this as a great thing at the time in terms of classrooms and function. In 1968, there was an anniversary, 50th anniversary of the school. Bricks and mortar does not school building matter. There was a comment, this building was built to stand. About the only thing that will knock it down is a bomb. I wouldn't go to Eastern or Central in a storm, and I wouldn't even go to Southside. The roof would cave in, the walls would fall down. I'd feel very secure in the basement. And then in 1992, a headline, Bingham is picked as one of the state's and nation's top schools. The school has been visited by a circuit rider of the Connecticut Historic Trust, Mr. Gregory Farmer, who is, again, Mr. Park Lane is after both O'Connell and Bingham, and I believe O'Connell has been voted in his favor. His comment about Bingham, two-story masonry steel building with raised basement, configuration of the school with classrooms on the perimeter, and an integrated gymnasium reflects the progressive era move towards better schools with natural light, good ventilation, and a healthy mix of intellectual and physical activities. There's tax credits available to Park Lane for both schools. An application would be made as soon as a nod was given by the City Council that you were going to be voting in favor of Mr. Lazarus Park Lane's proposal. The proposal for Bingham as well as O'Connell is in total 70 units.
Yeah, we're going to be discussing this after.
I'm sorry.
Let's wait until we get
You're right.
into that.
You're right. Mixed hats here. The last thing I'd like to say is there's a brochure and the table at the BDA office in the corridor. And in part, the last paragraph, our quality of life benefits from the 700 acres of beautiful parks and high-rated education system, including 2 high schools with an upgraded buildings and surrounding athletic fields, and an aggressive promotion of economic development that attracts reputable industry, which in turn increases our grant list. The Bristol community is active in the arts, a wide range of sporting activities, and preserving our city's rich history of architecture. So this is a statement on behalf of the city. As Mr. Cohen said, I'm not sure why we're really here. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll be coming back to that. Okay. Now we're going to go over the new chief's contract and appointment later in the evening, but we have a number of firefighters here. So can I have a motion to go into executive session now to discuss the firefighter contract?
So moved.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. And there's going to be the personnel director, our corp counsel. I think that's it, right? That's it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
When does it go before the council? Oh, it's the DOC. This is the last review of the